Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish.
All right, let's go. Letting go can also mean disqualifying the people, places, things, and whatever else has held you back from living a vibrant life. Did you hear the word disqualifying? You know what this came from? Have you been watching the Olympics this week? I remember Mark and I were preparing dinner in the kitchen, and I just got all ticked off. Hey, Jama, I'm glad you're here. Yes, we are Bond. Yeah, we're freedom girls. Good girl, June. I love that. Sorry, back to the topic on hand. But what got me was we were watching the Olympics. We're preparing, creating dinner together in the kitchen. It's a fun thing that we do. By the way, strongly advise anybody to do this with your partner in crime because it's a good bonding experience, good time to talk about things and get something done. And that is the ultimate form of multitasking, building a meal and a relationship, right? Amen. Anyway, so we're having dinner and the news had just come out how this 15-year-old figure skater from Russia wasn't disqualified, even though she was found doping, and her flimsy excuse of taking grandpa's meds was just ridiculous. And so, of course, we were, doing one of these about it. Just come on. I mean, do they think we're really that dumb? But I started to think about the word disqualified. What does it mean? Disqualified. She should have been disqualified, right? Shouldn't she? I mean, is it just me? Am I just mean? Remember that girl who was a track star, black woman with these beautiful long braids, and she was quite, let's say, what's the word I should say? She had her own vibrancy, her own sense of style. I love the way she carried herself, and she was a bomb runner. She got disqualified for smoking pot. Disqualified. No second chances, nothing. And this woman was taking this substance, was known to create more, more of a capacity, shall we say, with your heart. It's ridiculous, insane. There's this substance abusing something like that versus somebody who had smoked a little pot or something, or however she had done it. To me, it just seemed a little bit off. To me, they should have both been disqualified. If it's against the rules, disqualify them both. This has nothing to do with anything. It should have to do with, are you qualified or are you not? If you've done this, then you are disqualified, which brings me to exactly what we're talking about today with this topic of letting go. Hey, Gloria. And this is incredible. To disqualify something means, right? Something becomes ineligible for office, a job, a sport, or participation in an event. And because of that, that is an infringement or an offense. It's breaking the rules of fair play, is what it is. Breaking the rules of fair play. So what does disqualification do then? It cancels out participation. Think about that for a minute. Think about that sentence. Disqualification then cancels out participation. So what if, as a means to letting go, we disqualified certain events, disqualified certain painful memories, unhelpful emotions? What if we disqualified relationships that were really wearing on us, and our psyche, from having control over our lives? Do you not find this interesting? I mean, I certainly find it so interesting that we have this tendency to give everyone around us and everything around us the benefit of the doubt, except ourselves. You know, we disqualify ourselves all the time for even thinking about a dream that we might, oh no, we just can't. But some jerk in our lives acts like a real, you know what? Well, I'm going to just say it, asshat, right? They act like that. And then what? We give them the benefit of the doubt. We don't disqualify them from having an active role in our lives. We give them the benefit of the doubt. But when it comes to our own dreams, when it comes to our own goals, when it comes to our own stuff, we disqualify ourselves like that. We don't believe in ourselves, but somehow or another, I don't know, fear of loss, we give everybody else the benefit of the doubt. That's just, man, that's like, you know, that's like letting a 15-year-old girl skate at the Olympics when she's been disqualified from doping, isn't it? So if we decide to deepen our letting go experience, which I hope everybody has been thinking about this all week. I think as we think about these things, we can process them and we can see, how does this fit into my life? You know, how does this fit into my life? It only makes sense that we would cancel and disqualify things that are out of alignment with the things that we want in our life and the vibrant vision that we hold for it. There's a complete disalignment assignment there. And I say no more. I say no more. There's a story referencing baseball called 17. It might be something for a future discussion. I'll look into that. So this idea of disqualifying upends the notion that we have to put up with garbage. We don't. No one has to put up with garbage. You just simply make a decision and say, that's enough. I will not do that. And by disqualifying that which needs disqualifying, to put yourself into alignment, you effectively force reorganization of your brain. That is the truth. Because what happens now is, now that you've said no, you're no longer trying to make space and make a place and make things make sense in your head. You've said that's enough and you've cut it off. And now you can reorganize those brain synapses. Connect with the things that mean something to you. Connect with the things that you want. Not in the people-pleasing way, not in the way that has been your past experience, but in a way that lets you let go and cancel out and disqualify all that frustration, all that hurt, all that garbage. Because we have an attachment, is the problem, to stuff that we try to make sense out of that doesn't make any sense. Like this whole incident at the Olympics. Just saying. And you know what happens when we do this? There's like several things that happens. One, you become no longer available for endless demands on your time or even requests. You're no longer available. You're no longer the patsy sitting around because your time's become valuable. You've no longer leave yourself out there for their disposal of a task that somebody doesn't want to do. That includes all in the realm of relationship. Well, you know who that encumbers a lot of people and a lot of different things. I do this a lot at work, working. I look at what it is that I need to have my attention on and what is it that somebody else can do, because I believe that we all have our certain brilliances and talents, tons of talent in our team, by the way. I'm very blessed. And that when we can say, can you handle this? Can you do this? It's not because I can't. It's because it would be better for my company, better for everybody who works in Saving Dinner, better for everybody who comes to the show and gets their supplements from us and everything else. If I have my eyes on the prize, which is the best possible use for my time. That's how it is, not just for me, but for everyone. What if we all did that? What if we all did that? Think about that. It's incredible. The other thing is that your self-care now becomes a priority. Whoa, how about that? Because you've disqualified your inner martyr. Anybody have one in those? Well, I'll get to it someday. I just don't. I just can't. And oh, woe is me. I must do for everyone else. Well, you know, to a degree, there is must do's for you know, folks, but there's also, if we have this notion and this idea that yes, we can still fit in self-care, and yes, we still count, even though in the precariousness of new motherhood, or taking care of an elderly parent, or having a disabled child, or whatever, or being an on-call doctor or nurse or whatever, even though there's still that just not knowing what's up with your time, there's still an attitude that goes along with making the decision that your self-care is a priority and it's important. Not to say it won't be interrupted, not to say there won't be frustrating times, especially in those kind of circumstances, but it changes the perspective completely, 100%. You find it locked and loaded into your planner because it's planned for, you've blocked the time for it, and it actually gets done. It gets done. And the other thing is that your confidence increases. That, I swear, that's the truth. Your confidence increases because stress and worry about people pleasing, not there anymore. You know, the people pleasing is just exhausting. Anybody notice that? It is exhausting. It's difficult to keep up with and to keep on doing. And at the end of the day, nobody really gives a rip. We think they do, but nobody comes to our shows, y'all. They don't. Those shows are just, you know, we're on the stage sweating it out and doing the dance. Nobody's watching. We think there's an audience full until they put up the house lights, and then you look, nobody's there. No one's there. No one's there to watch, you know? So who are you dancing for? Certainly it's not yourself. So in a nutshell, disqualifying that which holds you back makes you available for a higher vibe life. It's true. It is 100% true. There's a palpable, dramatic shift when you see this. And I love the word disqualified just because of this whole Olympics thing. Things that should be disqualified but aren't could be the same exact setup as we're talking about this 15-year-old Russian skater. Well, first of all, can I just say one thing, sidebar? I don't even think the Russians should be there because they disqualified themselves and then they came on as the Russian committee. Come on. What a bunch of garbage. But that's another thing. That's an aside. We're not going to get into that. I don't know what it is. Who's on this committee anyway, this Olympic committee that they would say, yes, it must be a lot of Russians. I don't know. But that's ridiculous, you know? Instead of doing all of that, you find yourself in the Diana Nyad mindset of finding a way. And we love our Diana here. We are great big fans of Diana Nyad, her story, and how she just really gave it her all. And one thing that Lucy sent me, this is a while ago, she sent me a thing saying about Diana Nyad, that how she'd had a disappointing swim or something like that and gave up swimming for like 30 years till she decided to go back to it. So that tells me two things. One is that it's never too late. And two is that if you make a decision that is all about you, your vibrant vision, and making it come true, you can. Age doesn't need to hold us back. Diana was 64 years old when she crossed the ocean to make that record-breaking swim, all over it. And it's the coolest thing. And yes, it is. Margaret, I'm glad you're here. It is the coolest thing. And, you know, if you've never seen the video, you can watch it on YouTube. You can watch the Diana Nyad YouTube minute that she pops onto the shore and what she says and the look on her face and the sheer exhaustion. But, you know, it is exhilarating because she disqualified things from her life that wasn't going to get her to the other side of what she wanted, you know, and she was bound and determined. And it wasn't like she hadn't tried before. She did try before. She just failed miserably, but it didn't stop her. We all have a lesson or two or 10 to learn from our friend Diana Nyad. I love her. So here are 4 things to look for as you disqualify the things in your life that need disqualifying. Because I'm going to tell you right now, take a look. You will find a lot. Number 1, stop resisting and giving excuses. I alluded to this earlier. If you're aware that something needs to be changed and you're reluctant to make it happen because of whatever inane reason, you'll emotionally exhaust yourself in the back and forth. Should I? Shouldn't I? Should I? Shouldn't I? Should I give him another chance? Should I not? You know, I mean, it's like, I'll tell you, classic. I had a girlfriend whose husband was just a serial cheater. Should I bring back? Should I let him back in? Well, I believe that marriage is forever and this, that, and the other thing and all of that. And you know what? Her husband didn't believe it. He did. Her husband didn't believe in the sanctity of marriage. Her husband was doing something else. At what point do you get to the place of saying enough is enough? The mental exhaustion of the back and forth indecision is exhausting. And so is this whole, mental exercise of trying to make a decision that's right for you. And the right decision will pop out. I believe that with all of my heart. If you are truly seeking resolution, it's going to pop out for you. Number 2, resisting pain turns it into suffering. Okay, listen to me for a minute. This is the truth. When we resist pain, and I'm not talking about physical pain, but even so with physical pain, there's things that they tell you to do. Breathe through different pain. Lamaze breathing is all about that. It made a difference for a minute, and then I still screamed epidural, but that's another story. But breathing, and we talked about breathing as a method of letting go earlier this week. Breathing has shown to decrease pain, actual physical pain, right? So we know that the pain of suffering is absolutely excruciating, and it's hard to get. I believe it's from resisting pain. Instead of saying, okay, here you are, you and me, pain. We're going to sit down and have a one-on-one. What's up with this? What's going on? And it's not that it's all boxed up and an easy thing. Here's what you need to do. Here's your box. Open the box. Take the pain repellent out, put it all over yourself, breathe for about 10 minutes until it all sinks in, and then presto, it's all gone. It is not that simple, don't you wish? It really isn't. But we need an opportunity, really, hear me, to lean into that pain and to look at it for what it is. Why does this thing keep bringing something up to you? What is up with the pain? If we look for the answer in the pain instead of denying it, instead of not looking at it, we won't suffer. Well, we won't suffer nearly as much. Pain can still be suffered, but we find sometimes even meaning in the pain, sometimes even something experiential that we can say, this was like the time when I get it now. I know what this whole thing is about. We have the opportunity at any time with anything to grow from pain. Can you imagine? So find the lesson, create a life lesson out of it, and understand, just like they always say, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. You've heard that before, right? It's true. Number 3, deal with those feelings and emotions. Deal with them. Don't pretend they don't exist. Otherwise, go back to number 3 and start suffering all over again. Here's the thing that we need to look at, that there's a release valve in all of us. We have a release valve on, like, how do I deal with this? If I don't deny it, if I'm really going to look at it, scary, by the way, if I'm going to look at it, then how do I handle it? Well, there's a few things. One thing that they can do, and one of the best things that you can do, and also has been proven to be better than an antidepressant, physical activity. Physical activity. You won't believe what a really good, strong walk will do and how you feel when you come back in, or taking a swim, a very vigorous swim, or doing something that makes you feel empowered. That's why I love weights so much. They make me feel empowered. I mean, you're literally lifting heavy weight and going, just like, it just makes you, I don't know, what is that thing? But it just does it. It does it. It makes me feel very powerful. You can talk it out, get a counselor, get a priest or a pastor or a good girlfriend at least. Talk it out, hash it out, but don't allow yourself to wallow in it. Allow yourself to process it. The other thing is a good cry, for heaven's sakes. Anybody? Man, I'll tell you what, a good cry, That is cleansing. It's cathartic. It lets it all out. I mean, we're talking ugly cries so that you've got snot running down your face and you're going, you don't want anybody to see you. It's not pretty crying like in the movies. This is snotty and it's ugly and it's letting it all out. And sometimes, it sounds really bizarre, but sometimes this is precisely the thing we need to allow that pain to go out. That's a release valve. And there's nothing wrong. You're not going to sit there and cry for the rest of your life. You're just allowing for a session to let it go. And then the last one is a closing ceremony. I shared with you the flowers that I sent myself, right? Of no longer, I closed down this feeling and emotion of not enoughness. I closed down this whole idea that it's always going to be hard. I closed that all down because I believe with all of my heart that to go to the next place, you have to close the last chapter. You do. You just have to. You have to say that's enough. And even if you're in the midst of something and going through something that's long and tenuous and, protracted and drawn out, you know how that stuff goes. You can still say that's the end of it. There's my closing ceremony. And all I'm going to do is just deal with that one thing, as the thing that you have to do, the thing that you need to get closed up. Okay. I know that on June 5th, I'm going to, go to divorce court or whatever it is that you are, and that's going to be the end of that. But meanwhile, this is where I am and I've closed it all down except for that one thing. You can still close it down. You have to wait endlessly with the gates wide open. Shut it down. And number 4 is look for a replacement. Just because you canceled or disqualified something doesn't mean you can't have something else, right? Example, we talk about the abusive boyfriend. Anyone been there, done that? That doesn't mean you can't have somebody else in your life, right? Maybe not right tomorrow, maybe not next week or next month, but at some point you can have somebody else in your life. Holding on to something that not only doesn't serve you, but actually harms you is one way to just squash yourself, put yourself in a little teeny box and get lost in the basement somewhere, and that's not good. It doesn't work. So if you disqualify a bad relationship, yes, you can have a better one. If you disqualify a horrible job, there's a new one around the corner. You just haven't found it yet. Start looking. And if you disqualify clutter from your house, maybe, because we get a lot of people talking about clutter, there's a new home under all of that stuff. And if you dare to go look and start to imagine and visualize, put on your vision board this beautiful decorated home that you want to have, the sanctuary that you want to have, then you're going to start seeing your way to disqualifying the clutter from taking up your room. You know why? You know what gets disqualified? Things that aren't qualified for being there. Things that don't bring you joy. Things that actually take away the enthusiasm and vibrancy that you have for your life. Can you imagine giving that much power to the box of crap that you haven't opened in 15 years? Think about it. Pretty crazy. We all do it. But I'm mentioning this and putting it out there just for food for thought. It makes a big difference. Disqualifying whatever you need means that you are open to receive the next thing and you're available for it. 100% available. We all have so much energy and time and capability and room in our heads, etc., till we get to the place where it's like, that's enough. That is enough. But if we start getting rid of things and disqualifying things that don't bless our socks off, that don't serve us in our lives and in our families' lives, then we can be available for that next thing. If we don't get rid of it, we can't. We're not available. If you don't get rid of the clutter, your home, beautiful home, is not available to you. If you don't get rid of the bad relationship, you'll never have a good one. If you keep that horrible job, you'll just have a horrible job. And 8 hours of your day will be sucked into, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. You can do this, But I'm going to tell you something else too, that if I said, if you give me $1 and I can help you fix this, would you do it? I bet everybody here would send me $1. And all I'm going to say is take that $1 and go to the dollar store and buy yourself a journal. They look like this. It's $1. Get yourself a journal and start journaling about this stuff. I want this, not that. I disqualify this. I qualify for that. Do a lot of this high contrast stuff, and you will start to see easily and quickly, wow, this is what I want. It's that simple. So start a journaling habit. I do it every single day, and it makes all the difference in the world. It is the setup for the life that I want to live, vibrant. So the other thing is, I've got a free one for you: meditation, prayer, visualization, and conversation. 4 extraordinary tools to get you where you want. You know, one of the things that we need to be careful with our conversations is we want the conversation to be constructive, not a reiteration of all the garbage with all the detail and all that. That's where all your energy goes. Instead, if you focus on and just say, well, you know my story, I don't need to go through it again, but this is what I want. What do you think? I'm trying to focus on that. What do you see in my life that would be helpful? And be open for it. Be open for it. You should have friends like that in your lives. They're very, that's the hard conversation, but it's the good conversation. It's the one that says, I love you enough to tell you. And when you saying, I love you enough to ask you, then you've really got a deep, true friendship there. And don't let that go. That's a remarkable thing. So to let go means to create new boundaries, disqualify all the incongruencies, to create new and empowering habits around the things that you want. And you know what? It's open for everyone. And just think of it this way. When you see something that's patently unfair in the world, like watching the Olympics and seeing that 15-year-old from Russia get busted for doping and still qualify somehow, that's completely unfair and tilted toward, for whatever reason, in the wrong direction. But you do qualify for the things that you want just as much as every Olympic athlete that's there at the games doing the right thing, not doping, participating, training, and playing their hearts out. We all deserve to do that. So don't focus on the unfairness. Focus on the fairness of the thing, of what it is that you have in your life. This stuff, because you're qualified to make that call. Yeah, I like that. All right, peace be with you. Don't forget, take advantage of our core 4 supplements. If you buy 3 sets, you will get the 4th one free. That means like getting a month of free supplements. It's at savingdana.com/show. It's gone on Sunday, Monday morning at 12:01 a.m. So you'll want to take advantage of this. Appreciate you showing up. Have a fabulous Sunday, and we will see you on Monday. Thanks so much for being here. Peace be with you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.